I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the NYC Clean Heat program is part of the PlaNYC, or the Greener Greater New York Plan, and the part that we're dealing here with is the energy, with the air quality in the 5 boroughs. Our program here is to reduce the air pollution in New York City, and that's what we're here to do and talk about. There was a need to eliminate number 6 and 4 heating oil arose from a study that was conducted by the Department of Health, where 150 monitoring stations were put throughout the boroughs to check the particulate matter in each of these areas. And what was found was that there was a major correlation between the larger buildings or emitters or burners of 6 and 4 heating oil, and those were directly correlated to the areas that had the highest concentration of particulate matter. So as you can see from this map, the darker red areas are the areas that have higher densities of particulate matter, and then you can see the blue dots that are superimposed on that map, and those are all the buildings that are burning number 6 fuel oil. So you could see, especially in Manhattan, Upper Manhattan, Bronx, it was very directly correlated, and something that became very important to the city to tackle. Some impacts from particulate matter, just a little summary: 3,000 deaths per year, 2,000 hospitalizations, 6,000 ER visits, and our program is hoping and on its way to reduce these numbers. So it's a health concern. So what followed was heating oil regulations and the need to eliminate number 6 and 4 heating oil. So in April 2011, the DEP put forth some regulations that will eliminate the use of these 2 heating oils that were most impactful to air quality. And the way that it was structured was that number 6 oil will be eliminated basically by 2015, because as of July 1st of this year, the DEP will no longer reissue permits to burn number 6. And the second phase, and so basically you will not, most people will not be, or everyone will be not allowed to burn number 6 by 2015 because of the permits are issued on a 3-year basis. The second phase of the legislation, the regulations, is that number 4 oil will also be eliminated by 2030, or, and this part is very important, anytime you have to replace a burner or a boiler, you will then also be required to convert to number 2 or whichever cleanest available fuel there is, or it's usually number 2 or natural gas. So that's something that's really important that we want people to understand. Even though number 4 even though you're allowed to burn 4 until 2030, the moment you have to replace a burner or boiler, you have to comply and convert to 2 anyway. So this is why we encourage everyone to go straight to 2 if or natural gas is available. So the Clean Heat program was launched in response to this new regulation in an effort to help building owners, managers, and any other building professionals to help with this legislation, with this regulation, and to help basically provide assistance to buildings that need to convert. And what we're here to do, I'm here, part of the Clean Heat staff, is provide technical assistance. We work very closely with building owners, managers, and anyone else to guide them through the process, connect them to financing, and Posey will talk about financing in a little while. And Also, as part of the program, we also launched a website which is nyc.gov/cleanheat. Another way to contact us is via email, which I give out at the beginning of the presentation, which is info@nyccleanheat.org, or you can simply call 311 and ask for the New York City Clean Heat program, and you will be connected to one of the account managers, such as myself, and we will then talk specifics about your building. Also, a very neat tool that we have on our website, you can see on the right there, a screenshot of our website, is the Spot the Soot map. Basically, that map has, we plotted all the number 6 and 4 and number 2 buildings, and all those that have recently converted to natural gas. So all the red dots represent six buildings. The orange dots are number 4 buildings. So you could basically, as if you were using a Google map, type in a building address and see what fuel is used in that particular building. Also, when you convert, we take that into consideration and also plot that on this map to give you the full credit for your conversion to a cleaner option. So something that we always stress with the program is that this program is a fuel neutral program. In other words, we do not promote any particular fuel. We are simply here to help you convert to the cleanest available fuel. Usually what that is ultra low sulfur number 2, or what we now call it as clean 2, biodiesel blends, which are usually done in conjunction with number 2, natural gas, steam, or other alternatives if available. The fuels that we dislike, which are the heavier ones, are number 6, which is basically being completely eliminated, and number 4, which, like I mentioned before, is still possible to use. However, we see it as a stopgap measure and interim fuel, and we really promote the cleaner options more. And we'll get into these fuels a little more in the next slide. So the first thing you should do is assess your current system. Basically, you have to figure out what your system is doing and its age and how it's performing. You have to figure out if the boiler or burner has exceeded its life, how it's working, its efficiency. Is it capable to burn 2? Is it capable to burn natural gas? What's the condition of your tank? A lot of times buildings that have to convert from number 6 oil, that's an issue that has to be looked at. And then if you are converting to gas or natural gas, you have to figure out the issue of a chimney lining and whether or not your chimney is up to Department of Building regulations in order to burn natural gas. So, and we can always, this is the type of stuff that we talk about with buildings specifically, so that's why we're here to help. So we could always go into that further with you. So steps to switching, just going to highlight here, if you switch to natural gas, the conversion process is a little bit longer, actually quite a lot longer, if you just convert from oil to oil. So expect at least 6 to 9 months between planning and construction, and that's a pretty conservative number. Some of the steps that we say and recommend is first to contact us. We'll help you with the strategy and the options, and we help guide you along the way. Then you determine your internal costs of the conversion. You calculate the operating savings and the paybacks. There's usually costs associated with conversion to gas, so you definitely want to look at your payback period. And then you submit your application to your utility. depending on where you are in the 5 boroughs, your utility will either be National Grid or Con Ed. And if you are in National Grid territory, we recommend you contact National Grid directly and talk to them about converting to gas. And if you are in Con Ed territory, this is something Con Ed has just launched a new area growth zone strategy plan for the 5 boroughs. So that's something I'm going to quickly get into in a little bit. And if you are in Con Ed territory, you can always contact us, the Clean Heat program, and we could help guide you as to which areas you're in and what's available to you. As with all projects, we encourage efficiency measures. Permitting, going through all the permitting process is always, it's a necessary part. So that's something that your contractor or your engineer will help guide you through. So I mentioned the area growth zone for Con Ed, and there is a unique opportunity to connect to natural gas if you're in Con Ed territory at low or no cost. This has been recently launched by Con Ed at the end of October, and basically they slated a few growth zones in Manhattan and the Bronx, which allow you to come on at a basically group rate, and they promise pretty much a lower no-cost access to gas. Obviously, there are always internal costs associated, but it's still a big relief to buildings that want to have access to gas. So the first thing you do is you can see the website up there. It's cleanheat.com/gas conversion. See if you're in one of these zones. We encourage you to contact us first, and we'll help guide you through the process and see if you're in a zone. We work with Con Ed very closely on this, and definitely like to help guide you. The deadlines are fast approaching, especially for the first zone. It's basically December 14th, which is basically, it's exactly a month from today. So it's very fast, and there's a lot of things you have to do before that. So we encourage you to take a look at this website and contact us. Then there are a lot of steps that you have to take, and Con Ed spells those out right on their website, right on that gas conversion site, and you have to follow them with the appropriate deadlines as they mentioned. Basically, and then for buildings that don't find themselves in these growth zones, there are other options for you. Basically, you can wait until next year, 2013, the summer of 2013, they'll be releasing the next growth zones. Another option will be to just submit requests about your building and your, the fact that you want to get gas in your particular building, and they'll deal with you on an individual basis. Or we encourage you to convert to number 2 fuel oil while you're waiting for gas availability. And then just something that I skipped. Basically, if you're a building that has already submitted a gas service request and your request is an active request, you may also participate in this area growth zone, and you will still have to submit some paperwork, but you are basically halfway there before that first deadline. Here's a little bit more about the zones. Let me just take a quick, I'll show you, I'll go into Manhattan. You can see B4, which is in Midtown Manhattan, right below Central Park. That's one of the areas that was slated. The growth zone, basically, if you go on their website, if you double click on that B4 zone, you'll get a PDF that will highlight all the deadlines and specifically exactly what you need to do by each deadline. Basically, B4 is from Park Avenue to 9th Avenue, 42nd Street to 51st Street. If you find yourself in that area and you want gas, your time to act is now. As you can see, December 14th is your deadline. There are more deadlines for all the other colors. on the website. You can go and check that out there. So the first deadline, again, even though you have until December 14th, we encourage you to act now because there are quite a bit of steps that you have to take beforehand. There are a lot of paperwork you have to fill out. You have to have a building rep read through the acknowledgement letter, sign it, submit it. You're also encouraged to obtain your internal costs in order to figure out, whether or not you can even, you can even pay for this conversion, whether or not it makes sense for your building. And you have to submit the gas service request electronically. Either way, if any of it seems confusing or not, we encourage you to contact us first. We'll help guide you through the process. It's our job. This is what we're here to do. Call us 311, ask for Clean Heat, or email us info@nyccleanheat.org for any utility, whether it's Con Ed or National Grid. And the next slide is switching to Clean 2, or number 2 fuel oil. This is something that's very important to us as well. Number 2 heating oil is a very clean burning fuel. Many people don't have access to natural gas. We encourage them to convert to number 2, and the process is actually a lot quicker. It's usually cheaper upfront cost, and your expected time frame for planning and construction is a lot less if you look at that compared to what I was talking about for natural gas. And here it's only 4 to 6 weeks instead of months or close to a year for gas. Same thing, we ask you to contact Clean Heat. We'll help you figure out what you need to do next. We'll guide you through the process. You obtain your conversion costs. You look at a supplier. You look for, you consider biofuel, there are great incentives right now, some tax benefits and tax rebates associated with biofuel. We definitely encourage you to skip number 4, which is only, like I said, an interim fuel, and still very heavy fuel. And we want you to also understand your operating costs, your boiler maintenance, energy efficiency measures, and the tax credits. So with number 2, there are a lot more things that should be considered when converting to it. Basically, some of the efficiency measures that we were talking about, and the fact that it's such a clean burning fuel, that's illustrated here. So these are the boiler tubes that basically show you the soot buildup associated with burning of a heavier fuel. So the less refined the fuel, the more soot buildup starts to build up on your boiler, and therefore there is less of a heat exchange in between the fuel and your boiler, and in effect you end up spending a lot more money and fuel to produce the same amount of heat, which is really important and something that is not usually considered or thought about when looking at converting to number 2. So there's a lot more to look at than just the price per gallon. Number 2 is slightly more expensive than number 4, but we actually believe that when you consider the system holistically, you end up burning a lot less fuel because of this efficiency, because the fuel is so clean and keeps your system clean. There's less maintenance issues. It maximizes your efficiency. The air is cleaner around your building, and you basically help the city and help everyone else, all the residents in your neighborhood, to reduce the air pollution. You also have reduced maintenance costs, and we feel that it's definitely the better option, and we'd be happy to talk more specifically about your building. We have developed some tools that will help assess your project specifically for your building. You can input some metrics into our oil-to-oil calculator, which will then, the result of which will definitely show that the efficiencies of burning 2 as opposed to 4. So we encourage you to contact us again if you would like to see that calculation and to learn more about the efficiencies of burning Clean 2. Again, it's very, I already stressed this a lot. Definitely contact us for assistance, technical assistance, and financial assistance along the process. We are here to help. That's what we're here to do. We want you to understand the time frames. We'll help you understand your system, the fuel that's available in your area, the costs, and the deadlines and all the efficiencies. So again, you can call 311 or that 212 number or info@Clean Heat to contact us at any time. And with that, I'll turn it over to Posey Constable from NYCEEC to talk about financing.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to point out one thing. This picture that you see in the previous slide is not Luke. It is a male model. But the point is that the city, in enacting many of these new greener greater building code legislation, has put in place a number of resources to help building owners address what would be considered perhaps a burden, but in fact is designed to help building owners achieve greater efficiency and by doing so will improve the cash flow of the building and make it a stronger financial asset. So let's talk a little bit about the financing options that have been made available and how we can help you accomplish all of the complying with legislation that has been passed. So the city has provided both technical assistance resources that Luke has been referring to, and also they have provided financial assistance. Back in June, Mayor Bloomberg announced that there was roughly $100 million in financing made available to help city buildings convert from dirtier fuels to clean fuels. Basically, while the Greener Greater Buildings Plan was being enacted, the city also envisioned New York City Energy Efficiency Corp as a means of catalyzing an energy efficiency retrofit finance market and tasked us to helping out with the Local Law 43 Clean Heat conversions as well. So the city has offered to NYCEEC to get $5 million to put towards some of these programs. And let me tell you a little bit about what we've done so far. So there are, on the city's Clean Heat website, there's a financial resources page that lists many of our financial partners who've responded to an RFP and stand ready to be contacted to talk about some of these building conversions. But in addition to that, we at NYCEEC are happy to talk about your specific project. We'd like to see you submit sort of the cost guidelines that you've established already before we can sort of go into greater detail. But we are a source that we want to help you talk you through some of the things that we made available. So first and foremost, we have a pocket of money from the Department of Energy towards energy efficiency measures as well as clean heat. We put some of that to work in our first facility that we created with Chase, JP Morgan Chase, and Hess Oil. For Hess Oil customers, it's a oil to gas conversion product that allows Hess customers who have access to natural gas to make one monthly payment that includes both a 5-year forward gas contract as well as the measures that need to be implemented in the building to allow it to convert from burning number 6 or number 4 to natural gas. So it's a one-stop shopping, one payment that should be, or we have designed it to be, the same as or less than what you're paying for your number 6 fuel currently. So that's one thing we've put in place. It's a pilot program. It's a $10 million facility, and we are, working to put buildings into this facility, and if successful, we hope to grow it. We then created another facility for buildings that are in the New York City housing HDC. It's an $18 million energy efficiency retrofit loan program that will help buildings in the HDC portfolio incorporate both energy efficiency measures as well as fuel conversions. That was just recently closed, and HDC is culling its portfolio for projects that we can go forward with to assist with both the fuel conversions in Local Law 43 as well as additional energy efficiency laws that have been passed, Local Law 87, Local Law 84, that are auditing, benchmarking, and retro-commissioning laws. A number of financial institutions have also stepped up and said they would like to put money towards the clean heat conversions, and NYCEEC is working with each of those financial institutions to come up with different products that will be available to buildings that are having a hard time complying. So if you want to take a look at the Clean Heat website, look under the resources under financial resources, and you'll get a list of the various financial partners who have responded to the RFP. If you are on the line and you want to be a financial resource, we encourage you to contact us, and we will be glad to review what your financing program is and get you added to the financial partner list. Just a quick note on how we at NYCEEC use the money that has been provided to us to make funds available for these various things. First of all, we originate and fund loans directly to building owners, or we provide credit enhancement to commercial lenders so that we can create a more programmatic approach. As I mentioned, the first program we put together was this $10 million on-bill financing product for with J.P. Morgan and with Hess Oil. We are working with Deutsche Bank to create a $33 million community clean heat fund that will allow multifamily buildings in low to moderate income census tracts to tap into a facility to help them with both energy efficiency as well as boiler conversion. And then another means by which we deploy the funds that we have available to us is by credit enhancing mortgage lenders. That is how we worked with HDC on the Energy Retrofit Loan Program, and we are working with a large national organization, Fannie Mae, to be specific, on creating a means of using the existing mortgages, opening it up, and making additional amounts available for energy efficiency. So we're trying to be creative with the monies we have to be as impactful as possible, not just for clean heat, but to incorporate energy efficiency as well. So just a quick, note on how this Hess facility works. We believe it's the first non-utility on-bill finance vehicle that's available for both energy efficiency and clean heat. It's available to Hess customers that have been customers for a minimum of 3 years in low to moderate income multifamily housing in both the Bronx and Manhattan. That we can make some exceptions, and we're happy to consider those. But what NYCEEC did was provide a $2 million credit enhancement to J.P. Morgan Chase. They are not necessarily in the market for doing some of these smaller retrofit and conversion loans. So in order to induce them to make the money available, we are standing in a first loss position with our credit enhancement. So what that provides building owners with is a commodity price certainty for a 5-year through a 5-year forward natural gas contract. Hess will contract to do all the conversion measures in the building, and they roll it into a single monthly payment that incorporates both the gas contract as well as the conversion work. It's a 5-year unsecured loan that we're making to a building, and though mortgage rates are generally much lower, because this is an unsecured loan with basically a UCC filing on a boiler, the borrowing rate is roughly 6.75%. So that's just a quick metric on how that facility works. We're working on additional deals, and what we really want to emphasize is that if you're going to have somebody come in and do any kind of work on the building to comply with Local Law 43 and the boiler conversion requirements throughout number 6 conversions into 2015 and number 4 conversions all the way up to 2030, I hope you're aware that if your building is 50,000 square feet or greater, that you're also have to comply with 2 other local laws. Local Law 84 benchmarking rules, which took into effect last year and require buildings to annually submit benchmarking into the Energy Star portfolio manager and provide it to the city's Department of Finance. So that's now an annual compliance issue. But starting next year, depending upon the last digit of your lot number, you will be required to also submit an audit and retrocommissioning report. So if your lot number is 3, then starting in 2013, you'll be required to do a rather extensive analysis of your base building system. And so if you're also going to have to do a boiler conversion, you can look 2 to 3 years out and determine that with this additional energy efficiency measures you're going to have to review, you may as well think about rolling it all into one financing. There's no point trying to do financing for the boiler and then coming back 2 years later and doing auto retro commissioning financing. So thinking ahead towards what your requirements may be and how you can actually improve the cash flow from your building because of the energy efficiency measures you will be asked to look at. It makes a great deal of sense to talk to your mortgage lender early about what the cost might be to do all this work at one time, get a scope of work analysis, and either go to your mortgage lender or come to New York City Energy Efficiency Corp with a sort of a scoped out plan, and we'll try and help to see if we can finance the whole thing. Or check with our financial resources on the Clean Heat website, and perhaps they can help you, through their methodologies as well. So I want to just sort of close with a couple of things that financial members generally look for in a checklist for whether they feel your building will be able to comply and pay back loans. This is just a very quick checklist of things that you may want to start compiling now: audited financials and tax returns, evidence of property insurance, what your budget and year-to-year comparisons of the ability of the building to make payments on additional borrowings for boiler conversions or energy efficiency. So we stand ready to look at any to finance projects where the building's done the energy analysis, how much they're going to need to borrow, what measures they're going to need to implement, and look at how much savings you'll get from those energy efficiency measures, and we will actually calculate the savings into your cash flow. So with that, I would like to turn it back over to Luke for a couple of final notes, and then we'll be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Boji. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of upcoming events. Tomorrow, November 15th,